we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not working so well, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's get right to it. Today, our special guest is attorney Mark Wasserman. He's the co-founder of Pop Brothers at Law, a cannabis and criminal defense law firm serving the state of California. Welcome, Mark. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Karen.
Yeah, thanks. So Mark, you essentially built your 8-figure law firm nearly exclusively through social media, right? You have more than 1 million legitimate followers across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, etc. I have to ask you, how many qualified leads would you say you now get per month through social media?
You know, it's interesting questions like that. I don't keep track. You know, we've never really done that. Being I had a solo practice on the day, January 15th, January 15th, 1996.
Woo!
I swore in, and the next day, because nobody was hiring me, I opened my law practice and started figuring out how to get clients.
Yeah.
So when we jumped on social media, which is now 7 years ago,
wow. Yeah.
even back then, any type of advertising, my brother or I, with our separate law practices that we had over the years, you know, newspaper ad, anytime we paid for something like that, it just never worked out. We were already getting clients word of mouth and stuff like that. So we were used to not spending a lot of money because we just gave, I'm not going to do that anymore. I just always handed out cards and things of that nature we can get into later. But once we got on social media, you know, it's a whole learning it, accepting it. You know, that's what a lot of, people probably in my age range have a problem converting over and getting to the idea of putting yourself out there and doing the things that need to be done, which we just fell into ultimately. There were opportunities that were right there in front of us that presented itself, but had no idea what it was or what we were going to do with it once we saw the opportunity, because it's free, right?
Right.
Facebook, starting with Facebook, and all of them, they're free, which at any moment they can cut you down and take you off, but that's go pay for advertising. And they have Google ads, and there's lots of ways to take advantage of those things. I'm not the guy to talk to about that. And I'm actually just learning about Google ads and somebody's, but when you're talking about bringing your practice to social media and utilizing what social media has to offer and how to utilize it, that's something that I can talk to.
Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. And what you do so brilliantly on social media is you speak directly to your target audience with hilariously entertaining videos that are genuinely helpful to the people that you're trying to reach, right? I think that's the important thing to remember. So tell us a little bit about your origin story. Tell us how you and your brother started the firm, but then also kind of when you realized this immense power of social media that you've really been able to capitalize on.
Well, there's a couple of distinct dates along the way, which starts with January 22nd, 2015 as a benchmark, and then December 25th, 2018. So prior to January 22nd, 2015, prior to 2015, my brother and I, while we shared an office suite with offices in it. It was actually his he's probably been there 80 years or whatever. And then I came in, I was an attorney 10 years after him. And we had our own separate law offices of Craig Wasserman, Mark Wasserman. He did the stuff he did. I did criminal defense. And he did all the business shit that he did. And we had separate practices. And every once in a while, something would come along, we'd join, we would do something together, what have you. My brother's son, my nephew, who goes by Jay Cures of West Coast Cure, wanted to cultivate, wanted to do what was a felony back then in California. But if you did it properly, you had a defense when you were arrested. And that was under Prop 215 and patients' rights and all that stuff, which when I became an attorney in 1996, that's when Prop 215 was enacted and cannabis patients were getting arrested and I was defending them and getting them out. And so I've been dealing with cannabis crime cases since the beginning. And so when my nephew wanted to go through that, me and my brother schooled ourselves on how that all works and helped him and his friends and all of that to do this properly so that if you're arrested, this is your defense. Give it to you on a silver platter. Why wouldn't you do it? You know, which, you know, that's a discussion for another day about everybody who didn't do the, but that's what he did. That's where we really perfected it because, and when the time came and he got arrested several times, cases dismissed. And oddly enough, we never got them dismissed because he was doing it right. We were able to get the cannabis back because we had the paperwork and he was doing it right. But the cases were dismissed because we proved the cops lied. Because we had taught my nephew, since, you know, they're born, shut the fuck up. You don't talk to cops. And he ultimately would take the stand and say, I would be disowned by my family. And we were able to show through the cop's own video, the cop's own report, this fucking liar. Like, you know, and so anyways, that led my nephew, like, you guys gotta get on social media and teach this stuff. And there's nobody doing it. And so at that time in 2015, that's not true. He told us that, I don't know, whenever Instagram started, whatever year that was. Okay. You guys got to go on Instagram. I'm on Facebook with 5,000 friends and I've been there for 10 years. It's awesome. I don't need another social media. Yeah. And so we resisted for however long, until January 22nd, 2015. Now we're at a day in our office where my nephew comes in. Hey guys, I need a favor. I got a friend who's doing a talk show and they want attorneys who will come on the show, talk about Prop 64 and how legalization is coming next year, but also smoke with them. Can't find attorneys who will smoke or not. And I told them that my uncle and dad would do it. My brother, what? He was pissed. He's much, as everybody can see and knows if you follow it, they're very different from me. We're, you know, it is yin to the yang to the fullest in terms of, because I was like, where do we go? Let's go. I was out the door. Right. You know, and so my brother was concerned with the state bar and what's happened. And we discussed it and we were going to a private studio. It turned out to be a show called Getting High with Adam Ill on Be Real TV. And so at that time, we had no idea what Be Real TV. I knew Be Real from Cypress Hill. And I'm like, what? He's on Channel 4? What TV is he on? You know, no, it's on the internet. I had to learn all that stuff. I didn't know then. I didn't know. And so, okay, we decided private place. We have our physician's recommendation that allow us to consume and use in California. So let's do it. When do we go? Right now, today, we have to leave, you know, and that's my nephew for you. And so we bopped up to Hollywood, the Be Real studio, Be Real TV studio, and jumped on this set and started smoking, dabbing, bongs, joints, blunts, vapes, everything, and answering questions from people calling in. And Adam Ill was just like you said, I'm a stoner driving around. What do I do? And this was before we had what's now known as the script. What we had was, from my own criminal defense mentor, invoke the fifth, shut the fuck up. You know, that's it. Invoke the fifth, shut the fuck up. And so when we go through talking about cannabis patients in California, and we took pictures with Be Real and all that stuff, and my brother created the Instagram page. And so it's just funny because he knows nothing about social media, zero, which is, and I get on him to this day, because when, you know, at the end, it's going to be, where can we follow you and where do you go? What are your, you know, let everyone know where to find you. And I'll have to say, on Instagram, you got to go to Pot Brothers at Law, but you got to go to pot_brothers_at_law. Yeah. Because my brother, who had the brilliant idea of creating the page, which that was good, but puts the space bar in between each, and he didn't know that that creates that annoying, and if you don't know, now you know. That's where that comes from. And so we created it, we took some pictures, and then I started to learn and live with Instagram. Like, okay, what can we do? Here's a free platform. Maybe we can get some new clients out of it and teach people a few things. What's it all about? And so I went to my computer and immediately learned it's not going to help me do anything on the computer. So I wasn't very happy about having another thing yet on my phone back in 2015 that okay, here's another. And so I literally probably spent a week just looking at, and this is 2015, scantily clad women and pot.
Yeah.
That was the pictures. And then I'm like, Jesus, there's nothing of value here. What can we do with pictures and 15-second videos at that time? And so we started posting legal laws and legal shit. And then it was, again, geared towards cannabis patients in California, and they get fucked with them. What's that smell? You smell. You always hear about the smell and all that. And so we did a series of tip videos. 15-second tip of the day was the concept. And we're going to do a series of what do you do when you get pulled over?
Nice.
And we're targeting California cannabis patient users who get messed with the most.
Yeah.
And so we start, and it's basically, Chuck, invoke the fifth and don't say anything. And once we started that, my gauge was within 2 weeks, we had 5,000 followers.
Wow.
And it took me 7 years to get 5,000 friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this, what's going on? I don't, let's see what's up. And so start engaging in the comments. What if the cop says this? What if the cop does that? And so we figure, we got to give people something. So over the course of, I don't know, a couple months or whatever it was, we come up with, these 25 words known as the script, and start pushing shut the fuck up. And from 2015 to 2018, in that time, we get Cannabis Talk 101 podcast with iHeart Media. And we did that for nearly 7 years. And we started getting, it was funny, we started getting invitations to, High Times and all these events where it was, here's some VIP tickets, come join us. Here's some tickets, and here's a 10 by 10 booth.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a 30 by 30. Here's 100 by 100.
Wow.
Here's some money, come talk on the stage, and so it just started, and then the other bench from 2015 to 2018, and all organically, as we get hit up, you can get these followers if you buy this and do that or what have you. And it was none of that. 119,000 followers in those 3 years. And then and so now in those 3 years, I had placed us on every social media platform. So I wasn't active on them. Hardly. I just had LinkedIn. Well, I already had LinkedIn and attached that to it, but Twitter and Pinterest and YouTube and Facebook pages, just the Pot Brothers at Law there. And they would get some traction, however it would happen. And I would have, as an attorney, very sensitive to people need things right now, especially criminal defense. Yeah. Somebody might be in jail, arrested. So I don't want to miss nothing. Mm-hmm. So I have different notifications set for all the different platforms so I know what's coming. The Instagram goes off a lot. The Facebook once a week maybe. And so I'm on Christmas, it's December 25th, the morning of 2018. I'm away with my wife and kids. I'm on a balcony smoking a joint, and my phone was inside, and the ding, ding, ding was my Facebook thing, and it just would not stop. I thought it was broken. I didn't know what was happening. And I'm looking at my phone, and I can't get it to work. I get on the computer, and I'm finally able to, these likes and shares and all this stuff. And I'm able to get it back to a video I posted of our Shut the Fuck Up Friday, where we go over how 3 people were working at an unlicensed shop, illegal. It got raided. 2 of them went I'm a volunteer here. That's all. And the other guy knew us and shut the fuck up. And we got his case dismissed, and the other two, not so much. So that video got reposted to a Facebook page called Respect My Region, which was at that time a small page out of a hip hop political page ran by a couple of kids out of Seattle. That post from their page got reposted by Roger Stone with the caption that said, "These should be my attorneys." And it was at the time when I think there was a gag order over him, and you know, his house was getting raided. He was going through all that shit. And that just spread like wildfire. Within 2 days, Michael Rappaport calling, we do his podcast. MTV's calling, they want to use the video on Ridiculousness. Tosh.0 is calling, we come down and do an interview and a skit and all that stuff. It just, and so that just set us off to kind of the stratosphere in terms of that, to where, you know, now between all of our social media platforms, probably 1.5 million followers, you know, TikTok and Instagram being the biggest ones, and we're shadow banned. We are shadow. If you go to Instagram, you got to more often than not put in that whole thing with the underscores before we actually show up. Our backup page might show up, and you know, some other whatever, but it's and you know, when I go live, you know, 50, 60, 100, but and you know, it's just, I don't know how to crack that other than there's a platform that is just came out called G4 Plus. And it's just an awesome platform for cannabis businesses and consumers and those outside the space as well, to where you're not going to get shut down. Because we've been shut down by Instagram several times.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. How did you deal with that?
I'll tell you, I was given a backdoor link. So when you get taken off, usually what happens is you wake up and you go to check your shit and it's like, no, you're suspended. And if you need appeal, you can appeal it. And you push that appeal, and then it takes you to a page and you fill out all your shit and your reason. Yeah. And then you submit it. So I did that. And then you can do that as many times as humanly possible, which I did in my left hand with a phone. And somebody told me this, you know, some of these things I heard on like Clubhouse, I heard that, you know, people talking about stuff like this.
Right.
And I just and then I got a hold of a backlink, an actual link on the internet that you can go through the internet browser, and then it gets you to the same page, same type of page, same information, fill it out. And now I had both hands filling out, repeat. And the first time we got shut down, it took me, I think, 3 weeks. I was also doing press releases about shutting down attorneys, and all we're doing is not selling anything. You know, and so it was ridiculous.
Wow.
But I did those things now, and I'll never know. You can't talk to a human.
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows that who's tried.
Right.
It's impossible. And you can file for arbitration. Who's going to spend money and do that?
Yeah, right.
Or you do this, and I know that this works because I've had clients who get, you know, people call and they're like, "What did you do?" I go, and we discuss, and you know, we can talk about getting the backlink, and there's no guarantees, because I've had clients do it and didn't get it.
Right.
Do it, and I whatever. It's more because you got to get through to a person, from what I understand.
Okay.
The more you do it the first time, you're not getting a person.
Right.
The more it's being submitted, the better chance. That's as simplistic as it was put to me.
Yeah.
With all the algorithm shit that I don't know over my head.
Right.
But you know, it's annoying that that any
definitely.
platform is still doing that to anything regarding cannabis,
Right.
which is why I mentioned this G4 Plus, that, you know, hopefully, you know, we'll just be there. You know, but you know, as it stands, it is what it is, and you got to utilize what's out there, especially as a business, and tapping into. Oh, everybody's on it now.
Yeah, right. And Mark, Yeah. And Mark, backing up for a moment. So you obviously had, pretty explosive growth after, that the kind of viral events that took place. But how long would you say it sort of took before you started generating a pretty consistent flow of leads on social media? And
Immediately.
Oh, wow.
It really was immediate.
Wow.
It was immediate. Now, you have to engage.
Right.
Now, and when I sit and think about it, I don't know how I did it, because I'm running, and I still do it. I run all of our social media while being a full-time attorney and everything else we do, and all that. My brother's, doing what he does, pumping behind the desk and everything, and doing all that stuff. But it's about engaging back. And, as an attorney, there's millions of ways for them to go find another attorney.
Right.
And scumbags at that matter, that'll take advantage of people and stuff like that. So when you do a post, and so, and here's the thing, here's what I learned. No matter how big you put or yell, 855 Waslaw, here's my number, it's on the bio, here's the number here, here's the number in the post that I just wrote, here's the 85, here it is. You still got to go through your comments, because you're going to see, how do I get in touch with you?
Yeah.
Or you're going to get a message in the direct message. How do I call you? Instead of beating yourself up in the very beginning, I'm like, fuck. But don't worry about that, because that's not your problem.
Right.
Your problem is making it as easy as possible for the other people out there in this universe, virtual, to get in touch with you in reality. By us really just pushing a click.
Right.
And now they're in touch.
Right, exactly. And Mark, you do put out a lot of content. So what's your content creation process look like? I think this would be really helpful for some attorneys to hear. I mean, how are you able to kind of craft highly engaging social media content week over week over week? Are you batch, filming? Are you, just kind of flying by the seat of your pants? What's the process?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, because I fly by the seat of the pants is the majority, because that's what I have time for.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. When we started all this, we did not put a camera up and go, all right, we're going to get a reality show and we're going to have 1 million followers in 7 years. And let's try to do this.
Right.
It was with nothing. Like right now, as I stand here, and even it's like still crazy to me what's happening and how it happened. Other than organic, we stayed true to who we are in the face of anybody. We just didn't care either. Don't give a fuck who. You don't like me, go to the attorney who's having a 3 martini lunch and whatever. You don't like that I'm puffing up and doing what, that's your problem. And we didn't get that much of that. And we set out to really get a few new clients for free, no advertising.
Yeah.
And give out free information that, your rights.
Right.
Attorney will go, you want to what? Yeah, okay, $500, and we can sit down for a half hour and I'll tell you all you want to know.
Yeah.
And that was nowhere to be found. I'm really anywhere on social media for the most part. There are good videos that have been around that pop up, but not in mass and not all over the place, to where like someone could go, hey, what do I do when check out the Pop Brothers Headlock. Do that. Yeah. And it's all right there. So if you're just starting out, whatever your thing is, it's bring it simplistically to your audience with a large piece of yourself, if not all of yourself. Granted, there are people who, my brother was not anywhere near as comfortable as I was when let's go. I was, truth be told, I was a little in the beginning, because I'm an actor, I'm a filmmaker, I've written, directed, I'm like, oh man, I've been filmmaker reduced on what are we doing here? You know, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand then what really was going on, other than that, hey, we're gonna maybe get a few new clients, relax, and let's teach. People need to know, especially the cannabis. That's how it really, like I said, started. People need to know how to deal with cops. And so as our popularity rose from 2015 on, so did the escalation of the problem with cops.
Right.
You know, if you go back and look at all of those landmark things that happened with the cops, we're here rising with that and having more and more influences and celebrities, you know, like Killer Mike gets up at Coachella and CNN, and you hear it from, he shouted out again. He's talking about the, you know, and we're friends now, you know, we're working to collaborate to do things together. So it's just, all of that happened because I believe we came from a completely organic, natural spot, and nothing was forced. And it was just, you know, we're trying to help some people out, and we can't, right time, right place. We struck some nerve with, like my mom, you know, and why do you got to cuss? Well, you know, now we have shut the fuck up trademark, you know, so I mean, now we have to shut the fuck up, you know?
Yeah. Why is branding your law firm so important? You know, I hear from a lot of attorneys that just, you know, say, Instagram is a waste of time. You know, I need leads right now. But I mean, Pot Brothers at Law, so easy to remember, interesting, very descriptive of what you actually do. I mean, why do you think it's important to kind of create a brand as you have?
You know, that's a tough one for me to answer because we did not create a brand. We didn't set out to create. In fact, I'll tell you, in 2007, 2008, I was getting a lot of cannabis cases. And I told my brother, you know, we were out smoking on what is now known as the set of our tip of the day, where we'd go into the parking lot, you know, and then people are like, yeah, I know that parking lot. That's where we do the tips. And we would always just go out there on smoke breaks, you know, every 25 minutes, we go out, another smoke break. And I go, you know, I'm getting all these criminal cases of cannabis. We're brothers, we smoke pot, brothers at law, lawyers, pot brothers at law. Ha ha, it's a funny joke. I'm going to make cards and give them to my cannabis club.
Wow.
And so it was a joke. And so when fast forward to January 22nd, 2015, he didn't just pull the name out of his ass. It was that Pot Brothers at Law, that, you know, with the owners. So that's where that came from. And so we unwittingly, unknowingly created a brand.
Wow.
That we learned as we went along. So here's the first thing we learned when somebody, you guys don't, where do you sell hats? Fuck you, I'm an attorney. You gotta put a hat. STF, my nephew was actually, hashtag STFU and hat, you can sell hats, shirt. I'm not a hat peddler. You know, so it was, we made the shirts, we made stuff, and we would give it out because just, it felt weird. And so we have a, whatever, Spotify, Shopify, I don't know what it is, whatever it is.
Yeah, Shopify.
And, yeah. And, you know, we have a link and, you know, we never really pushed it, just posted every now and again. And for not advertising it at all, it goes, you know, and we're actually in the middle of working with figuring out who's going to do that, where it gets the big, you know, because I don't want to buy my hat. I just can't, you know, I'm happy throwing them out and giving them out. Yeah. I have a satchel that I wear, and I have a shirt and a hat attached to it, a shirt inside a hat. Throughout the day, wherever I go, somebody who might recognize or say, "Hey, shut the fuck up, guy," or whatever, if they've done it and I still have it on me, I give it out. You know, that's great. I like to do that kind of stuff.
You're the merch guy too, I guess.
Well, I mean, we just, over the years, getting recognized and being comfortable with much more than just, oh, there's that celebrity.
Yeah.
With things like, you know, thank you, because I moved from over here to California or Colorado because my kid needs cannabis, and you stand up for that, and you know, I heard you talking about it on the thing, and, you know, those types of things. My mother had cancer, you know, those types of things that we really connect with people on, that, it took some time over the years to still even get used to, breaking down and crying in front of us, like they've known you, and understanding that's who we are. You meet me or my brother. Oh, my brother, you might be a little more afraid to approach him with his tattoos and Harley stuff, but we're nice guys.
Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, you're obviously a very approachable, casual, funny guy. Not all attorneys are. What would you tell lawyers who might be struggling a little bit to kind of find their voice and their authentic, self on social media?
So I disagree, because I think everybody is and can be funny, and they are, in the privacy of their wherever, house, home, bathroom, whatever. You're funny, you've done something funny, you've done something you thought is funny. So it's there. And if you can get past yourself and what someone else might think, say, or do with regards to what you're putting out there, that's ultimately out there. See, and here's the fine line is, people don't want to come to somebody who's trying to get them. They want to come to somebody they could trust, and giving out information before you ask for anything, no matter what it is you do. That free consultation, or the free 15 minutes of this or that, whatever it is. Social media, go watch this, and here's some helpful information.
Yeah.
We and again, not thinking about this, only the realization of it afterwards, that when you talk about our audience, anybody who can talk, it's our audience. And I've learned that as we've gone forward, because what we're teaching, shut the fuck up, shut the freak up for kids, and your constitutional rights, which when we move outside of the United States, which we have, and learning from other counsel and attorneys in other parts of the world and other people, except Invoke the Fifth, what we teach applies just the same in lots of other, and our the shut the fuck up is worldwide.
Yeah.
As because of social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and which is alarming to, over the years, with social media managers. It was funny to me when hey, we can help manage your social media. What do you mean? And someone had a degree, or I'm like, you go to college for this now? I was like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Because I just did what I did out of instincts, and
right.
As a guy who in 1996 was at bars, restaurants, clubs, coffee shops, stores, libraries, gas stations, stopped on the freeway in traffic, I didn't care. You need an attorney, you got something, what's going on? How you doing today? Blah, bitty boop. Because more so bars and stuff like that, people have problems.
Right.
And the way I just connected with other attorneys who did different things.
Yeah.
So, hey, oh, you need a divorce? Oh, hey, you need I do that, and I get a referral fee or whatever. And I just started putting, here's my card.
When were you doing that? Like, was this when you had your own firm, or was this kind of once you and your brother teamed up, or?
No, this was in 1996.
Oh, okay.
The day after I was admitted to practice.
Nice.
I was at a bar, getting drunk. I'm an alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 3 years.
Wow, nice.
But I'm happy to talk about it, and it built my practice. Hanging out in bars and getting clients in my beginning I did PEP, personal injury, criminal defense, and family law. Because if you were in a bar, you were fighting probably with your wife or somebody. You wanted to get divorced. You had some kind of problem, or you were going to have problems because you're going to get a DUI and all that kind of shit. Or you were fighting with your business partner and you had a contractual issue. I mean, it's a lot goes on in a bar. And so and wherever you go as an attorney, I hear, like at the store, I would hear, oh man, I know somebody who does that. Here, call me.
Yeah.
Call me. And remember, don't talk to the cops either. I was saying that for, forever, because my mentor taught me that. But I was handing out cards which said on the back of them, to any law enforcement personnel, I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment Miranda right, and I refuse to speak with you unless my attorney is present. And so that was on the back of every card
Wow.
that I had when I had my business cards made.
It's really
Because
smart.
I would go, people take business cards and what do they do with them? They go into wherever.
Yeah.
And they would be like, put it in purpose. No. That goes in your wallet behind your ID. Because if you ever
Yeah.
get pulled over,
Yeah.
you're going to remember.
It's really smart.
And so, but I didn't know 1996, you fast forward to 2015, I didn't know we were going to be making cards that have 25 words on it, including the phrase that I just said that is still there.
Huh.
And everywhere in your wallet, behind your ID. I mean, tens
Wow.
of thousands of cards in wallets and behind IDs. We get, asked for it and we mail them out. And people
Yeah,
ask for them
yeah.
all over everywhere. So
That's cool, Mark.
that,
Yeah.
and again, people that's a brilliant marketing. Yeah, that's just what I did.
Yeah.
In 1996
You
because
didn't have this strategy laid out.
right. No, it built itself, and I guess it is what it is.
Right.
And as I just had to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because nobody would hire me.
Hmm.
Nobody would hire me. So what am I going to do? I have a license to practice law, which is you can bang up on the wall and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right. And that was, my dad's point for me and my two brothers. He was always, as he would say, he didn't have a choice. He worked for somebody. They could fire him at any moment, go into something where you can at least hang up your own shingle if you want, and so like, okay, well, I'm not. And the next day I was like, I actually went to get coffee at the Starbucks I studied to take the bar exam. And the nice Marie said, hey, are you an attorney? You're an attorney now? And I go, yeah, just yesterday. And she said, my cousin got a DUI like a week ago.
Wow.
Can you help? And I said, yeah, have him call me.
Yeah.
Like without, and I got my coffee, and as I'm walking out of the thing, I'm going like this. What did I just do? And I called my brother. I go, I think I might have a client. And he goes, well, what? And he does contracts and work common. I go, criminal defense. And he goes, I don't know shit about that. Call Fritchie, which was an attorney that he went to law school with, been doing it 20 years. Called him up, and I said, hey, this is what happened. The guy's going to call me. What do I charge? And he goes, look, and this was 1996 DUI. He said, I charge $750 and we'll do the arraignment and pretrial and probably cut a deal. And I said, God, that seems kind of cheap. And I thought that. I didn't say that because this guy had been practicing 25 years.
Yeah. And
so because I thought that, the first thing I did was call around. I got a DUI and what, blah, blah, blah. And it was like $1,000 to $7,500 was the range, depending on experience and area code. And where I was get LA, Orange County, Beverly Hills, the prices change when you call around like that. And so, but after doing my research and like figuring out what I thought was reasonable with his experience, when I got the call, hey, I don't know why I'm calling you. Is it true that you just passed the bar and you've never been to court? And you have no job? And I said, well, I do have a job. I work for myself. Law offices of Mark Wasserman. I have my license. As you know, I passed the bar. That's not it. I have never been to court. I've never had a client. You'll be my first. But luckily for you, my brother's friend has been doing criminal defense for 25 years. And he normally charges $4,000 or $5,000. He's going to charge you $1,500. And I'm going to go to court. I'm going to start learning, and you're going to have 2 attorneys for the price of one.
Nice. That's awesome.
Got my first and then I go back to Bob, and I go, and he had agreed to split 50-50, the $750.
Yeah.
So I come back and I handed him $750.
Nice.
And he goes, what's this? I told you, I told you I'd split it with you half, all to me. I go, that's half, man. And he goes, and he was baffled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I learned very quickly in business and business ownership, there are those who just have the hardest time asking people for money they earned, that
Right.
they're, that, you know, and I don't know, I never did for whatever reason. And I didn't care. I just said, dude, you're worth a lot more. That's all. That's all I did. You're worth a lot more, and this is what I got. And he took, over my objection, half of 750 and made me keep the rest. And he goes, that's great that you can do that. And I said, well, and so we built that relationship. And so that taught me I can do whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was at the next bar and somebody goes, I'm getting a divorce. Call my brother, who's a divorce attorney.
That's great.
And I would get them, the half I would get them is more than whatever the hell they were charging and what they were doing. However that worked out,
Nice.
that's just what it did. And over like a 5-year period, I did everything.
That's
And
great.
then I decided I'm only going to do these 3 things. I'm going to refer everything else out.
Yeah.
And I built my referral network that way, which when social media and even when Clubhouse blew up into the worldwide attorney referral network system that we now have.
Yeah.
But it started, and that's how I saw Clubhouse when it first really was starting, was like, I'm back in a bar again, except I'm just right here on my phone anywhere I want, talking to people, exchanging information and that kind of stuff. Now, with I prefer human touch and getting out there and getting, you know, as you know, I know you got COVID and it's different, but as things are more open, you know, that type of market you cannot buy.
Yeah.
You cannot buy putting yourself in places where, you know, people congregate and go, and just being out there. And whether it's a bar, a coffee shop, or whatever, and mingling and talking, you know, and that's how I started building my networking and my practice and getting clients. Because as I mentioned earlier, we never had success buying ad space, whether it's radio, whether it's whatever it was. We spent tons of money.
Did you ever spend meaningful money on advertising or marketing?
Yeah, and that's why we stopped doing it, because it was like, look what we're doing with not spending any money.
Right.
And at that time, before social media, we were saying that was all word of mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Client did that. And for me, handing cards out and meeting people, you know, and it would be like, oh, somebody gave me your number. Where? They live wherever. I went to bars up and down California. I mean, when I was younger, in my younger days, that's some of the thing. You know, if I had a week where I didn't have a lot of court or whatever, I would drive up the coast and get hotel rooms and hit bars and places, and just bartenders. If you're a criminal defense attorney, but make friends with bartenders and leave them stacks of your cards and tip them well. And if you don't drink, doesn't matter. I say I haven't drank in 3 years. I go to bars, drink my water, my tea, and whatever. And I've done it around where you know, they all know me already anyway. I've been doing it so long. But to younger guys, that's like a wealth of potential clients at bars, and leaving cards at bars, you know, is just a good way to go. All the way around, it's just getting more information out there any way you can.
I love it. So smart, Mark. And wrapping up, thank you so much for your time today. You've been incredibly generous. It was a lot of fun learning from you. Thank you so much.
It is my absolute pleasure. Tell Joe I said hello.
I will.
He was the first guy that we tried to do it. We did stuff with. I mean, and that's where the problem we always had was, it's not being properly marketed and pushed out there.
Right.
And I'm giving it away. Even my brothers, we can't keep giving it away, you know? Well, you know, whatever.
And for the audience, my husband, Joe, actually printed some of the merch for Mark. So that's kind of how we unknowingly had a connection before this, but.
Well, no, absolutely. And I dare say, I think short of Vistaprint, I believe the first yeah, the first person place company that did STFU shirts with us. And
That's
it
great.
was a great experience.
I love
Shaka people, and
Yeah.
love Joe, and I'm glad we were able to do this. So
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Really, really.
my pleasure.
It. And everyone, be sure to join us for our next episode of the Grow with Cara show happening very soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.